Caleb Miller stood in the rain outside a diner he'd just bought for $8.2 million, staring at a woman through the window who had no idea she'd saved his life. 21 years ago, he was a skeleton of a boy eating rotten food from her dumpster 3 days from death. Nia Williams was 10 years old when she made a choice that would cost her family everything, sneaking him her only meal every morning for 6 months while she went hungry. The day Child Services dragged him away, he screamed a promise through the van window. "I'm gonna find you and marry you when I'm rich, Nia Williams." She never forgot those words. He spent 7 years and $2 million keeping them. But here's the problem. Nia's about to lose her job, her home, everything, and she has no clue the man who just destroyed her life is the boy she once saved. In 60 seconds, he'll walk through that door. In 61 seconds, everything changes. Drop a comment where you're watching from, hit that subscribe button, and buckle up because this reunion is about to break both of them before it fixes anything. Detroit winter was cold enough to kill, and Caleb Miller was dying. He lived in his dead mother's car behind Rosa's diner, and he hadn't eaten real food in so long he'd forgotten what it tasted like. 11 years old, skinny as a skeleton, wearing clothes that didn't fit anymore because his body had shrunk. His mother overdosed and left him alone in the world. No father, no family, nobody who cared. Child Services came once, put him with a foster family who gave him back like a broken toy. They said he cried too much. So Caleb ended up here, behind a dumpster, eating garbage to stay alive. Restaurant trash was the best kind. Half-eaten burgers, fries that somebody didn't finish, bread that was only a little moldy. He'd gotten sick so many times his body didn't work right anymore. Everything he ate came back up or made him sicker. But he kept eating because the alternative was dying, and some stubborn part of him wasn't ready for that yet. Every morning, kids walked past on their way to school. They'd see him digging through trash and look away fast, like he was something scary. Maybe he was. He probably looked like a ghost. That's when Nia Williams saw him. She was 10 years old, black, with cornrows and a backpack too big for her small frame. She walked this route every single morning, and she'd noticed the white boy in the dumpster area before. But today was different. Today, Caleb collapsed. He'd been trying to stand up when his legs just quit, and he fell face first into a puddle. Couldn't get up, couldn't move. His vision was going dark, and he thought, "This is it. This is how I die." And maybe that was okay because dying was easier than this. Then he heard her voice. "Oh my God," she said, and suddenly small hands were rolling him over. Caleb's eyes opened and he saw her face, a girl his age, staring down at him with the saddest eyes he'd ever seen. "You okay?" she asked, which was the dumbest question in the world because obviously he wasn't okay. But her voice was so kind that Caleb started crying. He couldn't help it. When was the last time someone had asked if he was okay? Nia didn't run. She should have. A smart kid would have run and got an adult. But Nia sat down right there in the dirty alley and opened her backpack. She pulled out a lunchbox, the cheap plastic kind, and inside was her food. A sandwich wrapped in plastic wrap, an apple, a small juice box, everything she'd eat until dinner time. She unwrapped that sandwich and put it in Caleb's shaking hands. "Eat this," she said. Caleb stared at it. Bologna and cheese on white bread, the most basic sandwich in the world, but to him it looked like a feast. He couldn't remember the last time someone had given him food that wasn't trash. "Eat it," Nia said again. "Please." Caleb ate. He shoved that sandwich in his mouth so fast he almost choked, and tears ran down his face the whole time because it tasted so good. Real food. Food that someone made. Food that someone gave him because they cared. Nia handed him the juice box next, then the apple, and Caleb ate everything while she watched. She didn't look disgusted, didn't look scared, just sad. When he finished, she asked, "What's your name?" "Caleb," he whispered. His throat was so dry it hurt to talk. "I'm Nia," she said. "You're really sick, Caleb." He nodded, didn't know what else to do. Nia stood up, brushed dirt off her pants, and said something that changed everything. "I'm going to bring you food tomorrow, okay? Same time, right here." Caleb's heart stopped. Tomorrow? She was coming back? "Yeah," Nia said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "You need help. Can't just leave you here." A bell rang in the distance. School was starting. Nia grabbed her backpack and ran, but she looked back twice, and both times Caleb was still sitting there holding that empty juice box like it was treasure. That night, Caleb slept in the car with a full stomach for the first time in forever, and for the first time in forever, he had something he'd lost a long time ago: hope. Because tomorrow, Nia Williams was coming back. She promised. Nia came back the next morning, and the morning after that, and the one after that. Every single day at the same time, she'd meet Caleb behind the diner with her lunchbox and give him everything inside: the sandwich, the fruit, the juice, all of it. Then she'd go to school hungry and pretend everything was fine. It took 3 days before her mother noticed. Lorraine Williams worked double shifts at Rose's Diner, cleaning tables and serving coffee to people who barely tipped. She was exhausted all the time, but she wasn't blind. She saw Nia packing 2 lunches instead of 1, saw the extra food disappearing from their tiny kitchen. Money was already tight, groceries already stretched to breaking, and now there was even less. "Nia, baby," Lorraine said one evening, "where's the food going?" Nia froze. She'd been caught. "There's a boy," she said quietly, "behind the diner. He's starving, Mama. He's dying." Lorraine's face went hard. "We're barely making it ourselves, Nia. I can't afford to feed the neighborhood." "But Mama, you didn't see him. He's just a kid like me, and nobody's helping him." Lorraine wanted to say no, wanted to tell Nia that charity started at home, that they had their own problems, but something in her daughter's voice made her stop. The next morning, Lorraine followed Nia to the dumpster. She saw Caleb herself, saw the hollow cheeks, the skeletal frame, the way his hands shook when he tried to eat, saw a child who'd been abandoned by every system that was supposed to protect him, and Lorraine Williams made a choice that would cost her everything. She didn't call the police, didn't call child services. She knew what happened to kids in the system, knew Caleb would just disappear into another crack. Instead, she brought him inside the closed diner and spent 3 days nursing him back from the edge of death, fed him soup, gave him medicine they couldn't afford, wrapped him in blankets and let him sleep on the diner floor. But she couldn't keep him. If anyone found out, she'd lose her job, maybe even Nia. So she made a deal with her daughter. Every morning, Nia would bring Caleb food. Real food, not trash, and Lorraine would find a way to afford it. That way meant working a 3rd job, meant getting 3 hours of sleep instead of 5, meant going hungry herself some nights so there'd be enough. But she did it because her daughter had seen someone in need and refused to look away, and that was worth protecting. For 6 months, it worked. Every morning, Nia met Caleb at the same spot. They'd talk while he ate. He told her about the books he'd read, how he remembered every word of everything. She told him about school, about her dreams of becoming a nurse. They became friends in that broken way that only 2 kids surviving impossible things can. Caleb started to look human again, gained weight, got color back in his face, started to believe he might actually survive. And then one morning, Nia showed up crying. "Child Services found you," she said. "They're coming today. They're taking you away." Caleb's world collapsed. "Where?" "I don't know," Nia sobbed. "But Caleb, you gotta promise me something. Anything. You gotta survive this. You gotta make something of yourself. Promise me." Caleb grabbed her hands. "When I get rich, I'm gonna find you, Nia Williams. I'm gonna come back and marry you. I promise." Nia laughed through her tears. "Boy, you're crazy." "I mean it," Caleb said. His voice was dead serious. "I'm gonna remember everything, every word you said, every day you saved me, and I'm gonna find you." Caleb pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. It was the wrapper from one of the sandwiches she'd given him weeks ago, flattened and folded into something. His hands shook as he worked it, folding corners, creating creases, and when he was done, he held out a paper fortune teller, the kind kids made in school. Nia stared at it. "You made this?" "Last week," Caleb said. "Been carrying it, waiting for the right time." "Open it." Nia's fingers trembled as she chose a flap and unfolded it. Inside, written in Caleb's careful handwriting, were 4 words: "You saved my life." She opened another flap. "I'll save yours." Another, "I promise, Nia Williams." The last one, "I'll find you." "Caleb," she whispered. "Keep it," he said, "so you remember I'm coming back, so you know someone out there is thinking about you." Before she could respond, the CPS van pulled into the alley. 2 adults stepped out, official-looking, tired expressions. "Time to go, son," one of them said. Caleb looked at Nia one last time. "I mean it. When I'm rich, I'm finding you and marrying you. That's a promise." Then they grabbed him, pulled him toward the van. He fought, screamed her name. Nia screamed back, clutching that paper fortune teller to her chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. The van door slammed shut. Through the window, Caleb pressed his hand against the glass. Nia pressed hers back, even though they were already pulling away. The last thing he saw was her standing in that alley, tears streaming, hand over her heart, holding his promise. And the last thing she saw was a broken boy who swore he'd come back. 21 years later, Nia Williams still had that fortune teller, laminated it to keep it safe, wore it on a chain around her neck every single day, and Caleb Miller never stopped looking for the girl who saved him. 21 years passed like a knife dragging slow. Caleb and Nia lived completely different lives in the same city, never knowing how close they were. Caleb got lucky in the worst way possible. A wealthy couple from Michigan, the Hendersons, saw him at a group home when he was 12. They weren't looking to adopt, just volunteering, but something about Caleb caught their attention. The way he could recite entire books from memory after reading them once. The way he understood complex math without being taught. They took him home and gave him everything. Private schools, tutors, college prep, a real future. But they couldn't give him what he actually wanted. They couldn't give him Nia. He went to MIT on a full scholarship, studied computer science and finance, lived in his head most days. At 24, he created an algorithm that changed stock trading forever. Sold his company for $340 million and became the kind of rich that makes the news. By 32, he'd built a tech empire worth $890 million, owned a penthouse in Chicago worth $12 million, drove cars most people only saw in magazines, had everything except the one thing that mattered. He'd been searching for Nia Williams for 7 years, hired 12 different private investigators, spent over $2 million chasing leads that went nowhere. The problem was simple and impossible. Nia Williams was too common a name, and her mother Lorraine had left no trail when she died. No forwarding address, no digital footprint, nothing. Caleb bought property in South Chicago, close to where Rose's Diner used to be. Thought maybe if he was nearby, fate would do the rest. It didn't. Nia's life went the opposite direction. Her mother Lorraine died of cancer when Nia was 21, left her with $47,000 in medical debt. Nia dropped out of community college to work, and she never went back. Now at 31, she worked 3 jobs just to survive. Waitress at Rose's Diner on night shifts, home health aide during the day, Uber driver on weekends. Every dollar went to debt, rent, food. There was nothing left for dreams. She lived in the same rent-controlled apartment above the diner where she grew up. Same creaky floors, same broken heater, same view of the alley where she used to meet Caleb. Some days she'd stand at that window and wonder if he was alive, if he remembered, if that promise meant anything, or if it was just something a scared kid said to feel hopeful. She never married, never had time for relationships. Went on a few dates over the years, but nothing stuck. Men either wanted to fix her, which she hated, or couldn't handle how broke and busy she was. So she stayed alone. The only constant in her life was that paper fortune teller around her neck. Laminated and faded, but still readable, still precious. Her co-workers asked about it sometimes. Family heirloom, she'd say, which wasn't exactly a lie. On her worst days, when the debt felt crushing and the exhaustion was too much, she'd hold that fortune teller and read those 4 promises. You saved my life. I'll save yours. I promise. Nia Williams. I'll find you. And she'd wonder if Caleb Miller was out there somewhere still looking, or if he'd forgotten the girl who fed him from a dumpster 21 years ago. She was about to find out, because 3 days ago, Rose's Diner was sold to a development company. The new owner wanted to demolish the building and put up luxury condos. Everyone who worked there, including Nia, had 60 days before they were out of a job and she'd be evicted from her apartment. Her entire life was collapsing, and she had no idea the man responsible was standing outside in the rain right now, staring at her through the window, finally keeping his promise. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday from investigator number 13. Caleb was in his office when the email arrived with a subject line that made his heart stop. Found her. The message was short. Lorraine Williams rented an apartment above Rose's Diner in Detroit from 1998 until her death in 2014. Property records show the diner still exists. Current tenant in that apartment is listed as Nia Williams. Caleb read it 3 times to make sure it was real. Then he did something crazy. He called his lawyer and bought the entire city block where Rose's Diner stood. $8.2 million, paid in cash, closed in 72 hours. His business partner thought he'd lost his mind. His board of directors questioned his judgment. Caleb didn't care. He'd found her. 3 days later, he flew to Detroit and drove straight to the diner. It was almost midnight when he arrived. The rain was coming down hard, and through the foggy window he could see her, Nia Williams, older, tired, but unmistakably her. She was serving coffee to some drunk guy who kept grabbing at her arm. She pulled away, professional but firm, and Caleb's hands tightened on the steering wheel. 21 years. She was right there, 30 feet away, but he couldn't move, couldn't breathe. What if she didn't remember him? What if she was married? What if she hated him for taking so long? What if walking through that door destroyed everything? Then he heard voices from inside. Her coworker, an older woman, was talking loud enough to hear through the glass. "Nia, you hear about the building? Some rich developer bought it. We're all getting laid off in 60 days. They're tearing this place down for condos." Caleb watched Nia's face crumble. She didn't cry in front of her coworker, just nodded, said something quiet, then walked into the kitchen. But through the kitchen window, Caleb saw her break, saw her lean against the wall and slide down to the floor, hands covering her face, shoulders shaking. And the truth hit him like a freight train. He'd just destroyed her life. The girl who saved him when she had nothing was about to lose everything because of him. Because he bought this building thinking he was doing something romantic, something grand. He didn't know she lived here, didn't know she worked here, didn't know this place was all she had left of her mother. Caleb sat in that car in the rain, watching the only person who ever mattered fall apart, and realized his fairy tale reunion was her nightmare. He should leave, should call his lawyers, reverse the sale, disappear from her life before he made it worse. But he'd spent 7 years looking for her, spent 21 years keeping a promise. Caleb Miller did something incredible. He started his car and drove away. Before we continue, if you're yet to like, subscribe, and tell us where you are watching from, kindly do that now. May God continue to bless you as you support us. Let's continue. But Caleb came back the next morning at 6:45, the exact time they used to meet behind the dumpster 21 years ago. He dressed casual this time, jeans and a jacket, trying not to look like the billionaire who just bought her world. The diner was nearly empty, early shift, just a few regulars nursing coffee and reading newspapers. And there she was. Naya walked out from the kitchen wearing that tired waitress uniform, hair pulled back, exhaustion written all over her face. She didn't even glance at him, just grabbed a coffee pot and started making rounds. When she got to his booth, she looked up with that professional smile servers give strangers. "Coffee?" she asked. Her voice hit him like a punch to the chest. "Yes, please," Caleb managed. She poured, still not really looking at him. "You know what you want, or you need a minute?" Caleb's mind went blank. He'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, and now every word disappeared. What's good here?" Naya shrugged. "Depends what you like. Breakfast is breakfast. The pancakes are decent." "Do you have a bologna sandwich?" The words came out before he could stop them. Naya finally looked at him, really looked. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "A bologna sandwich? For breakfast?" "Yeah," Caleb said, heart hammering. I heard you used to serve them here." "We haven't had that on the menu in 20 years, Naya said slowly. "How would you know that? Lucky guess?" Naya stared at him for a long moment. Something flickered in her eyes, confusion maybe, but then it was gone. "I'll get you the pancakes," she said, and walked away. Caleb wanted to scream, wanted to stand up and shout his name, show her the fortune teller he'd kept all these years, make her remember. But he couldn't. Not yet. For 3 weeks, Caleb came to that diner every single morning at 6:45, ordered coffee, sometimes food, left massive tips that Nia refused to accept after the first week. "I don't need your pity," she told him. "It's not pity," Caleb said, "just appreciation for good service." She didn't believe him, but she stopped arguing. And slowly, carefully, they started talking. Small conversations at first. "How's your day going?" "Busy, always busy." "You from Detroit?" "Born and raised." Caleb learned everything he could without revealing he already knew. Learned that she worked 3 jobs, that her mother had died, that this diner was all she had left. Learned that she was drowning and too proud to ask for help. And he started fixing things, quietly. The medical debt that had been crushing her for 10 years, an anonymous donor paid it off. $47,000, gone overnight. Nia cried when she got the notice, called every charity in Detroit trying to figure out who did it. Found nothing. Her car that barely ran, mysteriously repaired while she was at work. The mechanic said someone already paid. Nia knew something weird was happening, but she couldn't prove anything. Then came the scholarship, a full ride to finish her degree in social work, specifically for women over 30 in Detroit. Nia applied on a whim and got accepted within days. It was too perfect, too convenient, but she was too desperate to question it. And through it all, Caleb kept coming to the diner, kept sitting in that same booth, kept talking to her like a stranger who was slowly becoming a friend, until one morning, 3 weeks in, Nia poured his coffee and said something that stopped his heart. "You remind me of someone." Caleb looked up. "Yeah? Who?" She shook her head. "Just a boy I used to know, long time ago." And Caleb knew it was time to tell her the truth. Caleb reached into his jacket and pulled out something small, a paper fortune teller, old and faded, carefully preserved in a plastic sleeve. He set it on the table between them. Nia's coffee pot nearly slipped from her hands. Her eyes went wide, locked on that piece of paper like she was seeing a ghost. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. "You gave me one just like it," Caleb said quietly. 21 years ago, behind this diner. Nia stumbled backward, hit the booth behind her. Her hand went to her chest, to the chain around her neck where her own fortune teller hung. "No," she breathed. You can't be." "It's me, Nia. It's Caleb." She shook her head like she could make it untrue. "Caleb's dead, or he forgot about me. He wouldn't just show up like this." "I've been looking for you for 7 years," Caleb said, standing slowly. "Spent $2 million on investigators, bought this entire block because I thought maybe you'd still be here." The coffee pot hit the floor, shattered, hot coffee everywhere. Nia didn't notice. She was staring at him, really looking now, seeing past the beard and the muscle and the expensive clothes to the skeleton boy underneath. "Oh my God," she whispered, then louder. "Oh my God, it's really you!" Caleb nodded, tears already streaming down his face. "I kept my promise. I came back." Nia's face twisted. The joy lasted maybe 3 seconds before it shattered into something else. Rage. "You?" she said, voice rising. "You're the developer? You bought this building?" Caleb's stomach dropped. "Nia, I didn't know you. I bought it to save it, to find you. I didn't know you lived here, worked here. You've been lying to me for 3 weeks. I didn't know how to tell you." People in the diner were staring now, but Nia didn't care. "I've been drowning for 21 years, she shouted, "wondering if you were alive, if you remembered me, if any of it mattered, and you were out there becoming a billionaire?" "I looked everywhere," Caleb pleaded. "Your mom left no records. I thought you might be dead." "My mama died broke trying to help you," Nia's voice cracked. "Worked herself to death because we kept feeding you, and you never came back." That hit Caleb like a knife. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry, Nia." "Sorry doesn't pay rent," she said. "Sorry doesn't bring her back." "What do you want from me, Caleb? What's this about?" "I made you a promise," he said. "When I was rich, I'd find you and marry you. I'm keeping it, if you'll let me." Nia laughed, bitter and broken. "Marry you? I don't even know you." "You knew me," Caleb said desperately. "The real me, when I had nothing. I'm still that boy." "No, you're not," Nia said. "That boy needed me. You don't need anybody." She grabbed her coat from behind the counter. "I can't do this. I can't." "Nia, please. Stay away from me, Caleb." She walked out into the cold morning air, leaving him standing there in a diner full of strangers, watching the only person who ever mattered walk away, again. Nia didn't speak to Caleb for 2 weeks. Wouldn't answer his calls, wouldn't come to the door when he knocked, blocked his number after day 3. But every morning there was an envelope slipped under her apartment door, handwritten, no return address, just her name in careful letters. She threw away the first 5 without reading them, burned the 6th one in her kitchen sink. But on day 7, curiosity won. She opened it. The letter was dated and labeled. Age 12, it started. "The Hendersons adopted me today. Rich people from Ann Arbor. They seem nice, but they asked what I wanted for dinner, and I didn't know how to tell them I just wanted a bologna sandwich. That's all I've wanted for 6 months. Your sandwich. They don't know about you yet. I tried to tell them. Mr. Henderson asked if I had any friends, and I said yes. A girl named Nia Williams who saved my life. He smiled like I was making up stories. But you're real. I know you're real, and I'm going to find you." Nia's hands shook. She opened the next letter. Age 15. "I'm in high school now. Got straight A's because I remember everything you said about not wasting chances. There's a girl here who likes me, Sarah. She's pretty and smart, and she keeps asking me to homecoming. I said no. She asked why, and I almost told her the truth, that I made a promise to someone, that I'm waiting for a girl I haven't seen in 4 years. She'd think I was crazy. Maybe I am, but I still remember the way you looked at me, like I mattered. Nobody's looked at me like that since." The letters kept coming, and Nia kept reading. Age 28, from MIT. Age 21, first $1 million. Age 24, sold my company. Every letter mentioned her, every single one. Age 27, I hired my third investigator today. The first two failed. This one promised results in 6 months. It's been 6 months. Nothing. I'm starting to think maybe you don't want to be found. Maybe you moved on, got married, forgot about the skeleton boy you fed. I wouldn't blame you, but I can't stop looking. I don't know how to stop. Age 30. Bought my first property in South Chicago today. 2 blocks from where Rose's Diner used to be. My partner thinks I'm insane. Maybe I am, but I walk past that alley sometimes and I swear I can still see us. You handing me that sandwich through the fence, me promising I'd come back. I'm trying, Nia. I'm really trying. The last letter was dated 3 days ago. Age 32. I found you. You're real. You're alive. You're 30 feet away from me and I'm terrified. What if you hate me? What if I waited too long? What if I'm not the man you thought I'd become? But I'm coming in anyway because I made you a promise 21 years ago and I've never broken it. Not once. Not ever. I'm tired, Nia. Tired of being rich and empty. Tired of searching. I'd give every dollar I have for one more morning behind that dumpster with you. That's the truth. That's all I've got. I'm sorry I took so long. I'm sorry I couldn't save your mama. I'm sorry I destroyed your life trying to keep my promise. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving until you tell me to my face that you want me gone. Nia sat on her apartment floor surrounded by 14 letters and cried until she couldn't breathe. He'd been looking. All this time he'd been looking. She grabbed her coat and ran. Nia found Caleb sitting on the curb behind the diner. Same spot where they used to meet. Same exact spot. He had his head in his hands and didn't hear her coming until she sat down next to him. He looked up, eyes red. "You read them," he said. It wasn't a question. "All of them," Nia whispered. "Caleb, I had no idea you were—" "I never stopped," he interrupted. "Never stopped thinking about you, looking for you, hoping you were okay. Every decision I made, every dollar I earned, I thought, would Nia be proud of this? Would this honor what she taught me?" Nia's throat was tight. "What did I teach you?" That people matter more than anything else. That kindness isn't weakness. That someone like me deserved to live. They sat in silence for a moment. The alley looked different now, cleaner, but the bones were the same. "I'm sorry about your mama," Caleb said finally. "I wish I could have helped her, saved her like she saved me." "She wouldn't have wanted your money," Nia said softly. "She would have just wanted to know you made it, that you survived." "I did," Caleb said, "but surviving isn't the same as living, and I haven't really lived since the day they took me away from you." Nia turned to face him. "Caleb, I can't just pick up where we left off. We were kids making impossible promises. We're strangers now." "Then let me prove I'm not," he said. "Give me time. Let me show you I love the woman you are now, not just the memory of the girl you were." Nia was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "1 year. What? You prove you love me, the real me, the broke, messy, complicated version, for 1 year. No money, no big gestures, just you and me figuring out if this is real. And if after 1 year you still want to marry me, ask me again." Caleb's eyes widened. "You're giving me a chance?" "I'm giving us a chance," Mia corrected. "Because those letters destroyed me, Caleb. You never gave up on me. Nobody's ever done that. So yeah, I'm giving us 1 year. But you have to promise me something." "Anything," Caleb said immediately. Promise me you'll be honest. No more secrets, no more fixing things behind my back. If we do this, we do it as equals. Not as the boy I saved and the man who owes me, just as Caleb and Nia. Deal, he said, holding out his hand. Nia shook it, then pulled him into a hug. They held each other in that alley where their story began, both crying, both broken, both hoping this wasn't a mistake. 1 year later, Caleb kept his word. He moved to Detroit, left the penthouse behind, rented a small apartment 3 blocks from Nia's, got a regular job working at a nonprofit, lived on that salary and nothing else. They dated like normal people. Coffee dates, movie nights, arguments about stupid things, making up and learning each other. And slowly, carefully, Nia fell in love with him. Not with the billionaire, not with the promise, with Caleb Miller, the man who remembered her coffee order, who made her laugh when she was tired, who showed up every single day even when things were hard. On day 365, early morning in that same alley, Caleb asked her again. No ring, no grand gesture, just him and her and the truth. "I know you now," he said, "the real you. And Nia, I love her even more than the memory. Will you marry me?" Nia smiled through tears, pulled out her fortune teller from around her neck. "Only if you mean it," she said. "I've meant it for 21 years, Caleb whispered. "Then yes," Nia said. "Yes, I'll marry you, Caleb Miller." And this time when they kissed, it wasn't about a promise made by children. It was about 2 people who found each other against impossible odds and chose love anyway. 2 years after the proposal, Caleb and Nia stood in front of 50 people at Rosa's diner and promised to love each other for the rest of their lives. The ceremony was small, intimate, perfect. The diner had been renovated but kept its soul. Same booths, same counter, same heart. Outside, the alley where everything began had been transformed into a small garden with a bench and a plaque that read, "Where kindness changed everything." Nia wore a simple white dress and her fortune teller around her neck. Caleb wore a suit and his matching fortune teller on the chain. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, a kid in the back row raised his hand. Everyone turned. The boy was maybe 8 years old, skinny, nervous. Excuse me," he said quietly, "do you have any food? I'm really hungry." The room went silent. Nia and Caleb looked at each other, and without a word, they both walked down the aisle to the boy. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Nia asked, kneeling down. "Trevor," the boy whispered. "When's the last time you ate, Trevor?" He looked down. 2 days ago? Maybe 3? I don't remember." Caleb's jaw tightened. He saw himself in this kid. The hollow eyes, the too thin frame, the shame. "Where are your parents, buddy?" Trevor shrugged. "Mom's gone. Dad's? I don't know. I've been staying under the bridge." Nia took Trevor's hand. "Come with us, okay? We're going to get you food and help. You're safe now." They brought Trevor to a table, loaded it with food from the reception. Sandwiches, fruit, cake, everything. The boy ate like he was starving because he was. While he ate, Caleb made phone calls. Social services, a family he trusted, people who could actually help. And Nia sat with Trevor, talked to him softly, made sure he knew someone cared. The wedding continued an hour later, but everything had changed. This wasn't just about 2 people anymore. This was about what they'd build together. 3 months after the wedding, Caleb and Nia opened the Second Chance Foundation. It fed homeless kids across Detroit. No questions asked, no judgment, just food and help and hope. They hired people who understood struggle, former foster kids, people who'd been homeless, anyone who knew what it meant to be invisible. Within a year, they'd helped 3,000 children. Within 2 years, 10,000. Other cities noticed, started their own programs. The movement spread like wildfire because people understood something simple. One sandwich can change a life. 5 years later, Caleb and Nia had a daughter. They named her Lorraine, after Nia's mother, and they taught her the same lesson. Baby, we may not have much, but we always share what we got. Though by then, they had plenty. Caleb's wealth had grown, but it meant nothing compared to what they'd built together. On Lorraine's 5th birthday, they took her to the garden behind Rosa's diner, showed her the plaque, told her the story. "Your mama saved my life when we were kids," Caleb said. "Gave me her lunch when she was hungry, made me believe I mattered, and that one choice changed everything." Lorraine looked up with wide eyes. "So you married her because she gave you a sandwich?" Caleb laughed. "I married her because she saw me when I was invisible, because she chose kindness when it cost her everything, because she's the best person I've ever known, and because 21 years ago I made her a promise." Nia squeezed his hand. "And he kept it," she whispered. "Against all odds, through everything, he kept it." They stood there as a family in the place where two broken kids had found each other, and they knew one thing for certain. Love keeps its promises, and kindness, real kindness, never dies. It just keeps spreading, one person at a time, until the whole world changes.